Giancarlo, a very tough start. First 12 minutes, it looked like you weren't at the races. You came back, and you copped a late goal. Is it been, that type of season for you think?
Yeah, I think that probably sums up the first 12 minutes of, just disappointed that we gifted 2 early goals. Could be from a physical point. I felt as though we were slow to start. I don't think we showed any energy at the beginning. I felt as though Adelaide actually came out firing. They showed their intent straight away. It was a soft goal off the corner. The second goal I was very disappointed with. It. We had so many opportunities to get rid of the ball, and just structurally we were just all over the shop. And then we knuckled down probably after 20-25. We had maybe 1 or 2 phases, and then we scored off the I think it was a goal kick, and then all of a sudden we sprung into life. Half time, we addressed a couple of issues. I actually felt second half were quite good. I thought we curbed a lot of their threats, and I never felt for a moment they were going to score. And then obviously we conceded. I felt as though that was a soft goal as well. I think structurally we're a little bit out. Had a couple of players pressing when they shouldn't have, and we got exposed.
Just seeing off the season, you're not going to make the top 6. That's unfortunate. You personally, you're off contract. I was reading yesterday there's no decision being made. How does it feel for you to see off the season? And obviously, if you're still there, you'd be planning for next season. So, sure. As a human, as a person, how do you feel right now?
Oh, it's been challenging. I'm not going to lie. It's not. It's never an easy situation. It's the first time I've ever experienced anything like this. But my job has always been, not only to perform now, but also to develop the young players that are coming through the club and start building for next season. The one good thing is you've probably seen there's about 3 or 4 players there that have come through the academy that that we've been able to fast track and give them an opportunity to consistently perform, and they're going to be better for it next season. So for me, I have to be professional. I can't let my emotions sway in the way I coach. I give 100%. Coaching staff gives 100%. But at the same time, look, football's football. Even if you do well, you're under scrutiny. So you still feel the same pressure. So for me, I just have to do the best I can.
I'm going to be cheeky now. At the same time, Carl's leaving.
Sure.
Have you had a worm come out for you?
No worms, no fishing, no, none of that.
Can I just ask, this season, as you just admitted, it has been very disappointing for you. What's changed between last year, where you were a breath of fresh air and your team was winning plaudits everywhere it went, to this season? Obviously, there are personal changes, we know, but in general, I wouldn't have thought people would have expected you to have fallen from the levels you reached last season to the league position you're in now. Is there many factors for that?
This is such a long, can be a long answer, and we've only got I'd say a couple of hours.
No, all right. Well, give us the edited version.
No. Look, I'll give you a rundown, edited version. Look, the intention is never to be in this position. The idea was to build on the back of last year. I never went into this year thinking that we were going to reach the heights of last season, only because I felt as though last year's squad was already cohesive from the year before, under Ufu's last year. I thought the idea was I wanted to go for a 2-year cycle with his squad, so build consistency, build the new visas in, and build the young players through. Season started well enough. We were undefeated we lost 1 game in the first 7, and then we hit a bit of a mishap in form, had injuries. We relied on some players to come through that we planned that weren't playing in the starting 11. That affected our cohesiveness, and there was over expectation or over reliance on the younger players with very minimal ALeague experience. And I think it's unfair to think that they could have carried us through and reached the heights that everyone thinks that we could have. And it's just a mixture of those things. And then when you start losing games and there's more expectation, make no bones about it. Sometimes, teams feel a little bit of fear. It's very hard to handle. I can honestly say that my management of these situations are uncharted territory for me. It's my second year as a senior coach. And, upon reflection, could I have changed a couple of different things? Yes, but I didn't have that experience. So it was almost like a catch-22. But I think what you've seen from the squad probably the last, I'd say 6 weeks, especially after the West United game where we got touched up quite a bit, I think there was more of a knuckle-down sort of attitude, more of an acceptance of where we're at. And I never fault my players for giving 100%. That's one thing that if you are questioning as a coach, you're in big trouble. I feel like they've given everything, and I can't ask for any more. And you saw today, we weren't in the game for 20 minutes. We came back. There was a bit of belief, and at the end, we just didn't have enough. I'd say just enough in the end to get a result, but the signs are promising. We went toe-to-toe with Sydney, we went toe-to-toe with Wanderers, we beat Newcastle, informed team. Today I thought away from home, despite the setback, we came back into the game. So some teams give up when these things happen, and I'm proud of my playing group. Is it perfect at the moment? No, but it's progressing, and that's all I can ask for.
Giancarlo, football's a funny game. First half, obviously, we talked about the first 12 minutes, but
Sure.
You go down twice. I think it was the first touch inside the box, you score.
Yep.
A couple of minutes later, there's a second goal. After half-time, you've got the dominance, but you weren't able to translate into goals. As a coach, the contrasting in emotions of not having the ball, 2 chances, 2 goals,
Yep.
and then you've got the ball and unable to capitalise. I mean, difficult to navigate?
It is. I think the beautiful thing about football, it rewards momentum, and you saw very quickly the momentum shift in that game for both teams. They started well, they capitalised, we came back, we capitalised. Sometimes it's very hard to fight, it doesn't matter what you do, but I think in the end there, it was a bit of inexperience that hurt us in the end.
On that second goal that you scored tonight,
You got to remind me, because Costas was the first one.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. So on the second goal, it seemed like it was again story of Adelaide's season, a breakdown of the marking scheme in the box in those sorts of situations.
Mm-hmm.
As a coach, and especially somebody who's been lauded for sort of their tactical, understanding of the game, is that something that you factor into your game plan and you think, hang on, if we can get a team put into this scenario, we're a chance at scoring if we can do this with the ball?
Yeah. So our game plan was there's no hiding that. I thought. Adelaide before the game transitionally, their defensive transition is a vulnerability. We try to exploit that. That's why I wanted to go to a 5 because I could draw their wider players a little bit higher, make more space, and that was the plan. And I think for a large part it kind of worked, and then for a large part it didn't. I think if I go back now, I probably would have. We changed to a 5-2-3 after 15 minutes because it just felt like defensively it helped us, but we actually got plays into those wide areas. Second half I actually felt we were more dangerous in those areas. Just didn't really, we didn't have the polish to hurt them. But we take all that into consideration.
And speaking of those, Corbin Piper came in and played sort of that left centre back position, whereas for the most part we've seen him out on the right hand side of the pitch. And Lucas Kelly-Hield as well played centrally, played in the midfield for portions of the game as well. And he has played there in the past, but typically as a defender. Again, were those considerations that you made with the tactical state of the game in mind, or were they personnel things?
No, so Cluffy loves rotating out. So I felt as though Lucas could step on and Corbs could step out comfortably and cover the space. I also put Hughesy on the right hand side because I felt as though sometimes with the build up I could switch to the opposite side and he was more comfortable on that right side. So that was a tactical ploy, but again, because I felt as though the 5-3-2 didn't work in the first 10-15, going to a 5-2-3 it helped us quite a bit. So but it didn't go exactly the way I thought.
And just a final one from me. You mentioned a bit earlier that you were a bit disappointed in the press at times, when players were pressing when perhaps they shouldn't be and things like that. Last season, one of the real big things in your side was a really regimented press, and everybody knew what they had to do and they executed it well. Do you think that sort of the breakdown in that this season has kind of hampered some of the performances that you've had this season?
Yes and no. I think that, last year we played a Christmas tree. And our intention was to sit in a low block. My intention this season was to play a little bit higher up so we could catch teams a little bit higher. I didn't enjoy last year being pinned for large parts. I felt as though, not that it's stigmatised as negative, but in order to play like that, you need very versatile, quick sort of players that can dribble, play counter-attacking football, and also be good with the ball. I felt as though we recruited this year a little bit more versatility. I tried to go for a little bit more fluidity, so we couldn't do that. And I think, sometimes I think, like anything, momentum with defending also comes with results as well. You shut out a couple of clean sheets as belief, and then they stay more structured and more focused. So I don't know if you saw today when there was that little incident between Payne and Mork, boys actually fired up and focused a little bit more, and we defended quite well after that. All good? All right, thanks guys.